Hello and welcome to the Vent Sesh, people. I'm Jared Freed. We are here on YouTube. Hi, YouTube land. Welcome. We're going to answer real listener problems live right here. So I want you to sit back, enjoy your Sunday night, chill out, grab a drink. I'm sitting here having a sipski. You should too. Let's take our brains. I'm sorry. I'm talking to my producer, Brandon. He's on the God mic. Say hi to everyone, Brandon.
What's up, everybody? How we doing?
He's the voice from the sky. So
That's
listen,
me.
I'm going to be answering questions. These are people that listen to the podcast or enjoy my Instagram account, and we're going to dig into their dating problems. All I ask of you, all you got to do, subscribe to the page, people. Subscribe to the channel. Hit that subscribe button because I'm going to be doing a lot on YouTube Live as The Bachelorette starts. Very excited. Our first guest, Sarah. Welcome, Sarah. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you. Big fan.
Totes Preach. Where are you coming from?
Sacramento, California.
I love Sacktown.
Yes, we love when you come.
I had such a great time there. Sacramento has the right amount of hatred for itself.
Yeah.
Because
it does.
They're close enough to San Francisco, and San Francisco people, I love doing shows there, but they love themselves as much as I love doing shows there. So there's no, I need a little lime squeeze of hatred.
Yeah, it's a pretty self-loathing city. It's pretty good.
Yeah, I love that about Sacramento. So Sarah, you have fantastic lighting in your apartment. You've done a few Zooms, I can tell.
Yeah, I have my whole setup here.
Okay, so what's your issue? Let's talk about it.
Okay, so my issue is around sex, okay?
Sex. Okay.
Yeah.
I've never heard it described that way, but that might be a t-shirt. But let's go.
I know, I'm gonna brand it. Okay, so backstory. My ex and I were together for a little over a year.
Okay, how did you meet? What was how you guys were together a little over a year? How old were you? How old are you now? What's
okay? I'm 24 now. We met on Bumble.
Okay.
And
why'd you make that face with Bumble?
Because I listen to your podcast. I know it's like kind of, like, is it like really reliable? I know I should use Ship. Like,
I don't think so. To say this, I don't think any of the apps are. You can't rely on a dating app to protect you.
Yeah.
Because guys are going to be guys no matter what app they're on. The app could be called iwannamarryu.com, and they'd still be like, yeah, I'm just here to like chill out,
Yeah,
so,
which is what he wanted to do apparently, but it's fine.
So you met on Bumble. Were you 23 at the time, or?
Yes, I was 23. He was 26. He had just turned 26.
And you were recently out of school working. What were you doing?
Yeah, I had been single for like a couple years. I had graduated, then I was working, going back to school, and then I met him. And I ended up staying in the city for him when I should have moved, honestly.
Explain that. I don't understand what you mean.
So like I got into grad school in a different city in San Francisco. And so I was supposed to move there to go to school there because my school was in person. But I ended up staying
because you thought this relationship was like, okay, listen, I understand that. Looking back, you're probably like, I mean, you're asking a question with the title X-Sex.
Yeah.
So, obviously it didn't work out, but I listen, you're there now. So,
yeah.
Okay. So you guys are together a year from Bumble.
Yes.
And then what happens?
Okay. So a year, we're talking like July of this year. So we've gone through the pandemic, all that jazz.
Okay.
He cheated. He took another girl on a date and kissed her, like told her he was single, which is cheating. And I get screenshots of the text messages and I find out from the girl and I immediately dump him. Very clean breakup, like done, didn't hook up, did not talk. And a week after the breakup, I like called him drunk and like tried to get him to hook up with me. And like, he was like, no, like I gotta do this the right way. Like I gotta really feel myself in the mirror. Okay. So after that, I was like, all right, whatever, closure's done. So fast forward 3 months later. So it's officially been like 3 months since we broke up. I'm in the process of moving cities. I'm in the process of moving back to San Francisco. And so I messaged him and I was like, hey, I'm moving in a few weeks or so. So like, let's get dinner. And he responded.
What's the need to get dinner at this point? Why do you need this?
Everyone's
And
asking.
listen, I can speak for him. I can speak how I would think I would act in the same situation, but I got to talk to you. So, and let me also say, I take a lot of emails on the J Train podcast, on U Up podcast. You've written in with this situation. I've read this situation.
I've written in so much.
I did this actually on my Patreon.
Oh.
I did this email just to let you know.
Okay.
I have to be totally upfront about it. It was the one more email last week, and I talked about this. So I know the situation a little bit, what you're saying. You were together a year. You broke up because he went out on a date with a bartender.
Yeah. Wow. You did. Yeah.
I just read this for Patreon. And for those of you out there, if you want extra content from me, patreon.com/Jared Freed. Let me go to Plug City for a second. But I $5 a month, 3 extra podcasts a week. But I know the situation. So to explain to the people watching on YouTube, you were together with this guy from Bumble for a year. It ends in July because the woman he went on a date with contacted you over Facebook.
Yeah, Instagram, yeah, kind of, yeah.
And sent you screenshots to let you know, hey, I just figured out that this guy has a girlfriend. Mm-hmm. Is that basically what the premise of her?
Yeah, he was like, hey, she was like, hey, just letting you know, like, we went on a date, like, we kissed, blah, blah, blah. I was like, thank you for telling me.
This is the world Ruth Bader Ginsburg imagined.
Yes, exactly.
So women helping women, I love it. So now you're broken up, which I appreciate. It's hard to break up with someone when that happens because, and you did write in your email, and you just kind of said it now, that I consider that cheating. I don't know who wouldn't consider that cheating. That's my question to you.
Sounds like a lot of people, honestly.
Really?
Funny. Yeah. Some feedback I've gotten has been like, but it was just a date. And I'm like, no, it was like premeditated. Like,
no, I mean, that's the whole thing about like, I actually kind of believe that cheating only has to be your version of cheating. If you feel cheated on, you were cheated on. And this isn't like, well, our opinions are different. No, you felt deceived. Right. Deceived is the only thing. If we take it out of cheating land and we say, no, I feel deceived by my partner, yeah, then that's all that matters. You don't have to have a good reason to break up. It just has to be your reason.
Right, exactly.
But I noticed it's funny that you defended that you thought this was cheating here and in the email. It's something I talked about on Patreon because I was like, no, that's fucking cheating. Like if you, I want to like just reiterate that because listen, people are like emotional cheating. That's just a way to soften the reality of cheating. It sucks.
Right.
Especially during a pandemic, you know, how do you even find like that's an extra lie to me.
Yes. 100%. Literally what next? So yeah, that's essentially the backstory. And
now you're moving out of the city. You're like, I'm going back to San Francisco. I want a dinner date with him.
Yes, but like my strategy is kind of like, I would be totally comfortable hooking up, no strings attached, nothing. Okay.
Would you?
Yes. I am so like.
But why do you want that? Why do you like? I mean, listen, you're very pretty. You know, as from a guy, like if I, as a man, just like third party perspective, you can go out with your friends. And I know I do understand that like the idea of safety for women is totally different than it is for me. But I do understand like you have a lot of friends that you could go out to drinks with or do a socially distanced thing with. And they could say, well, I have another friend who's kind of like in between things. He'd be down, you know, like I think there's other people that are more interesting than the guy who didn't think enough of you to like keep the, you know, I don't understand that. I understand, but I don't understand.
Okay, no, that's fair. And honestly, you and literally like the closest people in my life have said that. So it kind of says a lot. So I don't know if I'm just bored, like because my roster,
I understand that.
My roster, so to speak, has kind of thinned out a bit.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if I'm just bored and this is easy.
Yeah. That's true. But this is easy. This is bored. I understand. But so this dinner date, did he say no to it?
No, he said yes. He was like, yeah, like I can do that. Like, let's touch base next week.
Okay.
I wish I could show you the screenshots. Yeah. It was a very quick conversation, like 2 messages.
Okay.
And it was triggered because I saw him on Hinge the day before. And then I sent him a nasty message on Hinge. And then he unfollowed me on Instagram. And I was just triggered. Sure. So I messaged him and I was like, let's get dinner. It all unravels. I know, it's a lot.
Hold on. I was triggered. I was so mad that I was like, let me buy you dinner. Like, I don't know.
No, he can buy me dinner.
No, I'm saying you go, I got mad at him. I saw him on Hinge. I yelled at him. And you're like, I'm going to get him. We should get dinner? Like, how does that happen?
Yeah, because it's like, okay, you're going to unfollow me on Instagram. Well, let me show you, like, what you're missing. Like, let me show you.
He's never going to, let me speak right to you, Sarah. You're never going to get him back.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of where this lands, is like, I want to show him that he's missing out on, because he's not saying no to you. He didn't cheat on you. He cheated on the responsibility of you, on the responsibility of the relationship. The idea that he's on Hinge right now makes sense to me. He wants to get to where you got to and then say goodbye to that person too. Like, and to him, it's not, I understand you're taking it personally, because I would take it personally too, but going back to him is like going to an empty well. You're not going to get satisfaction, because I know what his mentality is. He's like, yeah, sure. Like, and he's never going to go, please, like, what you want, it sounds like, is him going, please take me back. I need you.
Yeah.
And I don't think you're going to get that.
No,
And it's not because it's you. And I don't think, like, this is kind of like the misleading thing. It's not because you're not great. It's because he's mentally beyond like making, because also going back to you guys have to start at a year in. Mm-hmm. He has no excuses. So he's right now avoiding more responsibility. If he goes back to you, what are you going to be like? Okay, we'll be casual. Like, you say that, but like, there's too much built up there. There's too much equity built.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's rewarding him. Okay.
What's that?
It's like rewarding him almost.
Yeah. I think it's also giving him what he wants. It's giving him, and he just knows that if you guys go casual, it's never going to be just two people that don't owe each other anything. Mm-hmm. Like, he still is going to be in that position where he's like, oh, we slept together now. What is this? Do I have to call that? Like, to me, he's off of the island and he thinks this is like, this would be going back. Like, it's hard because I understand what you want from this, mm-hmm. but it's just not, it's quicksand. I don't know if it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Like, no, I think you're so much better off going out with friends, meeting up with friends, meeting new people. You're going to be so much more fulfilled by that. This is like Bill Buckner. Okay. Bill Buckner used to play for the Red Sox, and he has I know this is going to be a weird tangent. So okay. Bill Buckner, the 1986 World Series, the ball went through his legs and they lost the World Series. And he was blamed for this. And his whole life, he had to live his whole life through this. And it's like, you don't want to be Bill Buckner. Like, you don't want to be living your whole existence, like, dancing in this, like, oh, you went out with the girl from Applebee's. You know, like, that would be on my mind every time I hung out with him. Yeah,
100%. Mm-hmm.
So I know it's not satisfying to move on, but you're going to San Francisco. It's a better city. Fuck Sacramento.
You're right.
Sarah, thank you for coming on.
Thank you. This was
such a pleasure. Fun. I'm happy you had fun. Goodbye, Sarah. Hey, people, YouTube land. Brandon, you there?
I'm here, buddy. How we doing?
Brandon, we got people on YouTube. Let's make sure people. I want to speak to the YouTube people. Get in the comments. What do you think of Sarah's situation? How do you feel? What would you do? We want to hear from you in the comments. Also, I want you to subscribe to the channel. I want you to hit the bell. There's a bell there. that you can hit that gives you up. I'm not going to go on YouTube. Let me make you a promise, people. I'm not going to go on YouTube Live every 5 minutes. It's not going to be like my Twitter account. You sign up for that bell, you'll get an email being like, hey, J-Train, Papa JT, the Wizard of Oz, the Sultan of Swipe, the board lord, these, chairman of the board, he's going live on YouTube. You'll get the notification. It's not going to happen every day, but hit that bell. Let's run a commercial. Can we do that, Brandon?
You are currently watching Jared Freed's YouTube channel. If you'd like to subscribe to the YouTube channel, you can hit that subscribe button for the low, low price of free. That's right. Monday through Friday, Jared will be updating this channel with clips from the J-Train podcast, some of his world-renowned stand-up clips, as well as charcuterie chats and Bachelor post-game shows. Also, hit that bell. The bell will give you updates straight to your email to let you know when Jared goes live. So hit the subscribe button, hit that bell, so that you can be up to date with all the fun that's going on Jared Freed's YouTube channel.
I have a career in voiceover that could happen. I think I could happen. Deb, welcome to the show.
Hi, how's it going?
How are you? First of all, I love your background.
Thank you.
Where are you? How are you? Tell us about you.
That is Cozumel on the last scuba diving trip I went with my ex-fiance. But it's a lovely picture that I took.
It's already juicy. You've already brought ex-fiance. Here we go. Buckle up, YouTube.
Oh, well, yes. So after that.
Okay, sorry.
Okay.
Deb, thank you for coming on. Let me stop you. Thank you for coming on. I appreciate you. The background looks beautiful. I'm sure it was a great trip to Cozumel. Okay, let's do this. What's the situation?
Okay, so I've had a casual relationship, very open, very casual for about 3 years with this person, intensifying over the last year. And also, being a scientist, I knew that the first thing I wanted to do was secure this person to be my only human contact during quarantine. So I was like, let's get it done. So then there was increasing frequency and intensity since March. Like through August, to the point where he's like, the way we cook this and my side of the bed and cooking and laundry and movies and staying over, which is fine. But, in my past successful casual arrangements, there's rules and boundaries that we're clearly breaking here. And so, you get very wrapped up in that. There's a lot of oxytocin.
So hold on.
Yeah.
I love this, Deb, because you sound like a very good communicator, because this all feels very worked out. Like you are, I think the problem with casual is that sometimes two people feel that the same definition for casual applies to both. And that's not always the case. And to me, when you're saying all these things and you're saying, I have a side of the bed and we cook and I want to make sure I'm having sex with one person during these weird times, it sounds like you're communicating that to the partner, right? And that's great. So, you said oxytocin. I'm an idiot. I don't know. You got to explain that to me.
That is the chemical that we produce when you get close to someone with physical contact, more so affecting women's attachment to that person.
Okay.
It's a very cool molecule. But basically, things changed, and I was fine with that. And he said,
Hold on. You were the best communicator I've ever met in my entire life. And then you just said things changed and then just moved on.
Because
what
of the
changed?
intensity. Well, he said, I love you, which was last month.
Okay.
I love you very, very much. I didn't say anything because I was in shock. And he shook me so that I would reply. And I was like, me too, even though I wanted to be like, I know, but I didn't because I agree.
Hold on, Deb.
Right.
You got to let me catch up to you. I love that you were you had everything on board. Then you go, and then things change. And I'm like, what changed? Oh, he said, I love you. No, that's a big part of the story. So
that's the story, yes.
That's the story. He said, I love you. And you said, me too? Or you said, I love you too?
I said, me too. However, he's kind of said these ideas before. He's like, I love you, but not in a boyfriend-girlfriend kind of way. And I'm like, okay, whatever. I don't even answer that. Then last summer, he's like, oh, I'm going to say I love you next summer and mean it in that way. And I'm like, please stop. Because I know he's not partner material. And I never got wrapped up in that because I was like, this is great. Let's just keep it as it is. I'm not going to answer those.
What do you mean by not partner material?
He would not be a good partner for me, even
Okay.
though I've had many, many partners in my life and I don't need to rush into the next thing. And this is working for the arrangement that we have now.
Sure.
I also think it would be hard to find a partner at this time. I think we're all going through things and I'm maybe not ready for that. And
I hear you.
But I got wrapped up in it. So before I went away to Mexico on vacation, he said that it got in my head and I thought, well, if there's love here, then maybe we should try this out. And so I blew it up on text. There went all of my good communication down the drain.
Okay.
I'm like, I need more. We should, if you're not interested in more, then why did you say that? And it doesn't mean anything. And I probably, maybe
So
don't want those texts at 2 a.m.
So you basically were like, you love me and I raise you, let's make it more, is basically what happened.
Right, which when I came to my senses over my wonderful 10 days in Mexico traveling, I was like, I'm an idiot. I just threw away this awesome situation that was so convenient and helpful for my mental health and was great. Asking for something that I actually don't really want with him. Because
why do you think you did that?
I think Oxytocin is to blame. We had such a great time and I've been seeing him more frequently and there was such an intense connection and we care about each other. I've known him for like 35 years.
You weren't on the vacation with him when you said this?
No.
Okay. Who were you with? On your own or?
My best friend.
Okay. So you're on this vacation, you got a few drinks in you, you're like, let's make this official. Let's go from the I love yous to we're together and we see what this is, even though that's not what you want.
Right. Well, he freaked out and I did that before I left and I was just like, we should do this. And he's like, no, we're just having fun. And I'm sitting here like, but you're the one who said I love you. So how do you get to not be responsible for my feelings? And he doesn't just say I love you. He's like, we need to discuss marriage. We're going to be married by the time we're 50. I'm like, what planet are you on that is casual to you?
Yeah.
So, we talked on text, he texting me, I'm sure he misses me, again, we have a very strong connection, but I want an opportunity to speak to him in person and say, I made a mistake. You're right. We are not partner material for each other. This was a great arrangement. Let's just go back to that sitch and not hold it against anyone because I know that what you really mean is that you care for me and I care for you. And that's fine.
Yeah.
But I think his male ego is getting him into the idea that she's obsessed with me and she loves me so much and I know I can't give her more and I don't want to. And I'm like, dude, I made a mistake. I came to my senses.
So there's a lot here and I have some answers. And it's based on just knowing you in these 3 minutes that we've spoken right now. So I understand what you're saying about him, that his ego is like, well, we can't go back because then you'll become obsessed with me and I'll have to like let you down again on your next trip to, Cancun. The next time you go to Cancun with a friend, I'm going to get a text where I'm going to have to say no to you. And because him saying no to you in that Cozumel moment or when you're in Mexico on vacation, that is actually hypocritical and he knows it. So he doesn't want to have to do that again. So he's pretty much actively avoiding that. Fine. That's his thing. But I'm talking to you.
Yeah.
So I think for you, you are treating this like it's science when it's more mystical, and relationships, and every relationship I've been in. And I remember one time I was ending it with a girl that I was dating, a woman that I was dating. And I remember saying this, and I remember saying to them, well, we should be together when we're together and apart when we're apart. And to me, that was such a good idea. And it's like, no, that's not how it works. You can't, this is a monorail and it's not a car. The monorail goes from station 1 to station 2 to station 3 to station 4. And it gets you where you're going. It doesn't go back and, it doesn't. And I think what you're looking to do, you're saying, well, we had this great thing. Why wouldn't we just go back to that one moment? But that's just not how it works. And all this stuff was what you're saying, a lot of what you're saying, and a lot of like what those relationships are. The casual relationship is a selfish thing. And there's nothing wrong with that. The word selfish gets a lot of bad press. But the way you're explaining, you're like, I had it perfect. I had it where I knew what it was. And then I knew what we served a purpose. Like when someone else serves a purpose for you, that's a little bit selfish.
Oh, sure.
So, and like, listen, I've been there too, but like those rarely last forever. Him saying I love you is kind of like the natural course of developments, right? Like A, B, C. That is the next step. Is him, and
Yeah,
I understand where he could get carried away to say I love you, and then where you could get carried away to go, let's just be together. Like because that's human. Like to me, it's as human as oxytocin. To want the next thing. So when you're saying why can't we just go back, I do understand why he's resisting that. And I understand why you would maybe not even, you would think you want that, but maybe get in that and realize it's not what it used to be. I think even if you did go back, it could never go back. If that makes any sense. Like what you're saying could happen, but very unlikely, right?
Well, I think he thinks that the reason it can't is because of me, because he's fine just thinking we're having fun, and yet I'm the one who wants more, when I realize that's not the case. So I feel
but I'm saying he also said I love you, and that bothered you.
So yeah, I think I was into it, and then I realized I shouldn't be, and that's not what we need or how we can sustain an arrangement, because we broke all the rules. And if
my thing is, when you call it an arrangement, like that is an arrangement is like, I have arranged my life. Like you have two people here, and I understand like what you're saying with his side, like what he thinks.
Mm-hmm.
I can't get into what he thinks. What he thinks doesn't matter. You want something that he can't be on board for.
No, I think that's all he wants to be on board for, which I would accept. But I think he thinks I want more, and that's not accurate.
Well, I think he is avoiding his mistakes, not yours. I think it's easy. I agree with you. Like there's an ego thing here where he's like, she'll become obsessed with me. But that is also selfish for him. He's avoiding, oh, what if I say I love you again? What if I do the thing that makes it so that I break the rules? Like I think for him, like to me, I understand that what you had was perfect, but I've had perfect arrangements with a lot of people where I'm like, time's up. Like tick-tock, the alarm went off. Now we're in a different zone of this relationship, and I don't want to be in that with them, just like you're saying. And it's like, okay, let's go back to when we didn't know these things. Well, that's not possible. Like, I'm not sure if what you want is actually possible with this person without, like, it's almost like the curtain's been drawn back. Like, oh no, the lighting, I see all the, the stage hands, like this isn't sexy anymore. Like
he said exactly the same thing last year, and my approach of ignoring it worked for a year.
Well, it worked for a year, but here we are again, so, right. I think, but that's also very human where you're like, we did this once. Now I'm saying these things I've said before. Yeah. It really does hurt people to say things they know are honest, but they know are also hypocritical. It hurts to go, like, I think everyone has that person that they went like hook up, break up, hook up, break up, hook up, break up. And then you go to the breakup and they go, why don't you come over? And then one person goes, we can't do this again. And then you go, but I want to. And then they go, no, we can't do this again. And you both know, and then you end up doing it and you go, I don't want to deal with that breakup cycle again that brings me back towards, like, I think, like, you're thinking of him, like, trying to, like, I think the one part you might be misunderstanding is that you're thinking of him trying to save you. He's trying to save himself. he doesn't want to have to like go through that second part of the cycle again. Like, it is selfish on his part. So how do you go back is really your question. I don't know.
Or proceed. Yeah. I mean, so he texted me and, you know, he made a meme the other day and he's like, look, I made my first meme. And I'm like,
yeah.
Okay. I guess I don't think I can bring myself to block him. I know exactly where he is right now. He's in our neighborhood at a bar 2 blocks from my house that I could easily walk over and have a conversation, but I'm trying not to do that.
Why are you trying not to do that? Like, to me, like, if you're saying I want casual, that's what you're saying. I want an arrangement.
Yeah.
And you're very good at communication right from the minute you started with me. Like, I understood it right away. To me, like, why not go to that bar? Why not say, hey, let's talk this out? I think over text, what happens a lot is people get ahead of themselves. You're writing your own script. So you're already like on the next page of the script while you're writing with the dialogue with someone. I think if you go to that bar and you say to him, like, I liked what we had before, and I can give you the point where it went wrong. The I love you is where it went wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And I went along with I love you because I care about you. And in that moment, I'm trying to protect your feelings and I'm trying to protect my feelings. And then at a certain point, when someone, you know, what happens with I love yous with people you don't love is it's like refusing a meal when other people are hungry, because you're like, love is what everyone wants. Why would I say no to this? How could I ever complain the rest of my life you know, about not having love when I've refused love? And people are hard on themselves in that way. So I think if you went to that bar and you talk to him and you go, hey, here's the point I saw it went wrong. Here's why I said to you the things I said to you. I want to go back to that I love you stage and have some fun with someone that I enjoy. Maybe he's up for that. And the other thing you have to also look out for is maybe he doesn't want to lie to you and he's trying to find other people to fill that void. And you have to be ready for that answer.
Yeah, that totally makes sense and I appreciate it. I did go over to the bar like when I got back from Mexico and try to have that conversation, but he made an assumption that I said, I think it's time for us to renegotiate, like you always say.
Yeah.
Back to the table, it's a good natural point for us to talk again. And so, you know, my opening offer was going to be sex and texting to arrange sex. And if he wanted anything else like movies and TV and staying over and laundry and cooking, like that's something that we have to discuss the rules about. But he was upset and did not want to see me. And he's like, you ambushed me. We'll talk. I'll text you. And I'm like, okay. So I left him alone. And so, you know, he seemed kind of upset at me.
At that point,
that was like 2 weeks ago.
To me, he cares more about you than he's letting on. Because that means he knows this is going to hurt him. And again, it's self-preservation. Like, in the same way you're doing a version of self-preservation yourself. You know, you're trying to preserve, you know, the good sex, the safe sex, the trustworthy sex, the person that I like, but that I can speak honestly with and they don't get offended. I understand where you're coming. Like, your goals are very much in line with goals I've had, you know, like where they didn't work out. And it's very difficult, but I wish you luck. Thank you. Thank you for coming on. This was fantastic.
Thank you.
Good to see you.
Bye.
Bye. People, we're getting deep tonight. This is the Vent Sesh. If you want to be a part of Vent Sesh, Brandon, did we put the link in the comments?
Link is in the comments, and as well, it's in the description below. You can join us. We'd be excited to have you.
Yeah, if you have a situation, because these are all situations with stories. And I love that we can dig into the stories, the particulars. This is what makes it interesting. Everyone's situation is a little different. Let's go to a commercial break.
Are you aware that Jared Freed also has a Patreon account? What's Patreon? That's where creators put out extra content for their subscribers. On Jared Freed's Patreon channel, you get three additional podcasts a week for $5 a month. That's right, 3 additional podcasts a week for $5 a month. You'll get Luxury Lounge. Every Wednesday, Jared complains about the luxury issues in his life. Then on Friday, you'll get one more email, a longer email that he wouldn't have gotten to on the J-Train podcast. On Sunday, Coffee with J-Train. Coffee with J-Train is what he calls his sad little diary. It's a moment of honesty. It's 20 minutes to really refresh the brain. If you want to be involved with Patreon, go to patreon.com/JaredFreed. You'll get 3 additional podcasts a week for $5 a month. Also, future Rose Rehash episodes will feature questions only from Patreon subscribers. Only Patreon subscribers can ask questions that will be answered live here on the Rose Rehash. So go check out patreon.com/JaredFreed. For $5 a month, you get 3 extra podcasts a week, plus the ability to ask questions that will be answered live here on the Rose Rehash.
Welcome back. I love my voice sped up. Really kind of weird. Very excited. So, Emmy, welcome to the show.
Hi, Jared. So excited to be here.
It's great to have you. Emmy, who are you here with? We only got one name on the screen.
So, Jared, I hear we have something in common. I'm a Boston guy living in New York City now.
Welcome, Boston guy living in New York City. Do you have a name?
Yes, my name is Mike.
Nice to meet you, Mike. Where are you from in Boston? Are you from?
Originally from Lowell. I lived in Brighton for a couple of years.
Very cool. Welcome to the show. How are you and Emmy, Mike and Emmy? How are you guys connected?
Yeah, don't forget about Maurice there. He's with us.
And Maurice, I'm sorry.
No support. Yeah.
Look at I thought I did acid and I was seeing something. Okay.
Well, I mean, hey, you never know.
So what's going on?
So the story Emmy's going to tell you today, I was the male presence when she told the story, and I had the input on this, and you're going to love this one.
Okay, so you're not involved in the story. You're a friend who's commented on this before.
That's right. Yep. And I'm here for the support. Yep.
These are the best type of stories because there's a point with every story, and we're going to get to it, Emmy. I'm so pumped that you're here. Is that everyone's like, the friend is like, I've given my piece.
Yeah. And you know what, Jared, I would love to hear your opinion on this.
Okay,
It would be great to know.
So here we go. Okay.
So that one. Here we go.
Cheers. Here we go. I love it. Emmy, let's hear it. Vent.
So it's about this guy I was seeing from Hinge throughout the summer. And about 1 month into us seeing each other, he invited me to a weekend getaway upstate by the Catskills.
Okay.
And he said that he already had this Airbnb booked, that would I be down with the understanding that we will split the costs of the Airbnb. And I was totally down because what else is there to do during quarantine?
So I have a question before we get into this. He already had it booked, but now wants you to split it with him.
Thank you. Okay. All right, we're gonna keep going with this.
There's a series of red flags that lets the ultimate.
I'm saying, what was his reasoning for booking it before you existed in his life? That's my question.
Exactly. So I think he had it pre-planned throughout the summer. He said that it was an idea between him and his friends if I would be down, but eventually ended up just being him for the weekend.
Oh, so I have to stick on this part of the story because so he just had this Airbnb waiting. You guys meet and he's like, I'm going away. Do you want to come? But I'm going to go away alone or without, like, I'm going to go with or without you. Is that how it's presented or?
It sounded like more of me and my boys have an Airbnb, and all of a sudden it's, everyone bailed last minute. So then it was a romantic
probably because we were like,
now I need help I need help paying for it.
I mean, that's my theory, but
we didn't even get there yet.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay, go on. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it gets better.
So we're 3 to 4 weeks in. I'm open to it. I was like, why not? Because I want this relationship to continue to move forward.
Mm-hmm.
And on night 1, he brought up the idea of us eating out at a steakhouse, indoor dining, which wasn't even available until recently here in New York. So I was down for it. And while we're ordering, and this is the first time we're actually eating together.
So I have a question. I'm sorry to interrupt. This dinner happened on the Airbnb vacation.
Yes.
Okay, so you agree to paying half.
Of the Airbnb in the car. Yeah.
in the car. This guy's a real gentleman. Okay. So
Yeah. And this is dinner number one. Now, mind you, the girl that he asked to go on to the trip, and this is the first day.
That was the same weekend you invited me to go to Boston, and that's why I was like, I had other plans come up. That's
Okay.
I was
why
back home for a month. I invited her. Apparently, she made the right choice. So.
yeah, right. It's the choice that got her on Sesh on YouTube with me. So
perfect.
Yep.
okay. So night one of this Airbnb splitsy vacation, you are at an indoor dining restaurant on a date with him. You had never been on a date with him previously.
No, this was for about 4 weeks in. So this must have been maybe like the 6th, 7th. It was at that point.
But had you been on dinner dates at this point, or how are the hangouts leading up to this? What are you guys doing to hang out? Is he treating you at least for whatever those dates are?
So I did a calculation in my head afterwards. First date, we had coffee, croissants, and went city biking.
Okay.
And then after that,
I mean, that's a New York City date for all of you that are like, oh, what the hell are they doing?
But he
That's a nice
20,
New York City thing to do.
25.
So I had a whole thing when this whole thing started. I was saying like all these COVID dates, all these coronavirus dates are actually the cutest things in the world. They play right to the heartstrings of a lot of women. Oh, legitimately, if you said it, and if a guy said the date, he'd be like, yeah, we drank out of bags of wine the whole night. You'd be like, ugh. But when a woman tells a story, it's like, we did city bike and croissants and coffee, and everyone's like, wow.
I didn't even know how to ride a bike. This is my second time riding a bike.
Well, he's teaching you now. See, this is all romantic. So, for you, it was romantic. For him, it was $7.95.
Yeah. Hey, that's a good point. Yep.
So
You're
exactly.
Right.
So I'm saying like the money thing is sticking out in my mind just because I want to backtrack. During coronavirus, it's very easy to get off the hook for an investment. It's very easy to go, let's go to the park and get $12 six pack. It's very easy to go. And because that's what else are you going to do? So I understand that you could be a month in with someone where their effort level or the type of person they are financially hasn't been revealed yet. So, okay.
This was the opportunity for that to come to a head.
Of course. Now you're on the first dinner date. So
Exactly.
now this is like officially your first real dinner date is what you're saying.
In a different town. There's no excuse.
And to be fair, I have also vacationed like upstate in the mountains, and you would think, oh, it's a mountain town, it's cheap. It is New York City prices. It's
like Woodstock. It's like, this is
Woodstock,
There's
exactly.
that area.
Yep. Mhm.
Yeah.
okay. So you're at dinner. How does it go?
Dinner number one, his idea to go to a steakhouse. I'm looking at the menu and I make a comment, maybe I should get the filet mignon. His reaction, Mike.
Oh, that's the most expensive thing on the menu.
And I was like,
yeah.
okay, red flag number one, check. Well, then I switched my order to meatloaf. And then when it came to
All right, see, he's laughing. So that's legit. That's going from the cellar to the, not even the basement. That's like the double basement. That's, yeah.
All of the filet mignon. It's a little expensive. Okay. I'll have the side of fries and the meatloaf. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
And then when it came to checkout, I offered to pay half. And he said, oh, so you want to split? And yeah, that's fine. But like, I got way more food. Let me at least get the tip. And then like, while we're waiting to like check out, he's showing me his wallet. He shows me the Chase Sapphire card and makes a joke about like, I'm in a lot of debt. And then originally he did say like, oh, how do you want? Like, I could Venmo you if you want to get the points, whatever. I was like, the card I'm using is not like a points one, but we'll figure it out. And then that was night number one.
Yeah. At that point, I'm looking for train schedules. Like I
agree. At that point, red flags. It's just
listen. Someone just told me that for the J Train podcast, there's a 1-star review because there's an episode that I actually remember where someone wrote in about they were going on vacation and their friend wanted to cheap out on the vacation. Like, and they wanted to like spend money on the vacation. And listen, whatever your vibe is for a vacation is totally fine. You can spend, and the 1-star review was basically being like, look at these privileged people making fun of poor people. And that's not what I'm saying. The point of the conversation was, you're on a date with a guy, you offered to split it. I'm sure you said that to be nice. Like, you know, in your mind, I would assume a young woman, you're very cute, you're on a vacation, you've already split the Airbnb, which could be reasonable. You've already split the car. He invited you. I would want to be taken out if I were you. So I wouldn't blame you for going, oh, you didn't pay? Like, that's why I'm looking for train tickets, because I'm like, we don't match. It's okay to not match on things that are kind of icky to talk about. Like, these are the subjects that someone would go, oh, so you don't like splitting the tab? It's like, no, I don't. No, I fucking don't. I fucking split the car. I split the air. So, like, I wouldn't blame you for being out on this guy at this point, but go on. And
the funny part about this is we wouldn't have this story for you if it were for her getting a train ticket and going home. So
yeah, and we actually match on Hinge. Like, one of my questions was, what's your mantra? I said beach by noon, and we started talking about that.
That's
so
great.
It all comes full circle.
So what happened the next? So you go to the dinner. What goes on next?
Day number 2 out of 3. It was, again, his idea to go to a diner because he loves diner food. So we're eating there, and then it came to check out. I offered to split again. And then he was going to, like, put it on his card. And then we find out that it's a cash only place. So he goes to the ATM to withdraw cash. And then I see insufficient funds.
Oh my God. I feel bad because, like, listen, whatever situation you're in that situation. Like,
but this is the thing, Jared. Like, when I met him, like, I'm 30, he's 35. He presented himself as a successful entrepreneur who built these companies out after college and was, like, in the C-suite at some startup and talking about all these deals.
The first month, we're all someone different. You know, the first month when you're on the city bike, you know, like,
when the date is $7.95, I mean, everybody's a baller at that point. Yeah.
And he has, like, this 1-bedroom loft in the Lower East Side, but he's subletting it from his cousin. So who knows how much he's actually.
Well, the thing is, like, this delves into conversations of, like, that become like, I don't want to hate on this guy. Like, he is trying, but, like, sometimes you get above your skis, you know, like, and it feels like that's where he's at. But, and I have a question. I don't mean to get too personal, but are you sleeping in the same bed after the first night? What?
I'm actually glad you brought that up because we did have sex the first night and there was 2 different rooms and I fell asleep with him afterwards. But then I wake up and he's in a different room saying that.
Why?
I don't know.
So looking at your face hearing this story, could you imagine my face hearing this story? I'm just like, you had one of the worst weekends I've heard in a long time.
How do you guys know each other? Are you guys longtime friends? What's the deal with you two?
Yeah, so I met her back when I lived in Boston. One of my friends from Boston moved here.
We have a whole crew backstage, by the way.
Yeah, we got a whole crew. They're chilling in my room watching football.
Distant, maximum 5.
No, but yeah, like met through friends. Actually, it's funny, of our whole group of friends, we actually met first. And we've been friends for the last like 6 years.
And they get to hear all my crazy stories, and I always tell them.
I got you. So you're the Vince Sesh that you know that Emmy has. You know, like
it's true, but no excuse to be fair. We're not going to get into that. I vented my story to her, so it's even here. Yeah.
I get it. Okay, so now so you're at the diner, insufficient funds. What happens?
The owner of the diner says, "Oh, we've been having Wi-Fi issues. It could be a problem with the ATM." There's another ATM.
Like he paid that guy. It's like he was like, "Please, thank you, save my penis."
He was trying to help me. He's like, "I got this guy's back."
So she said, "There's another ATM at the gas station down the block." So we go for a walk. Mind you, while we're walking to the second ATM, I spot this cute hole-in-the-wall wine cafe. I was like, oh, that looks nice. And we make a mental note of it. Then we go to the ATM at the gas station. insufficient funds again. And then he makes a comment about, oh, maybe the bank put a block on my card because we're traveling. And I'm like, in my mind,
you're not in Paris. You're not in Lebanon.
Yeah.
Like,
You're in New York State as opposed to New York City.
You went to Westchester. I don't think Chase Bank is worried.
So I was like, and then he asked me, he was like, do you have any cash? I was like, well, of course I do. So at that point, like, I just pulled out my debit card, withdrew the funds. We walked back. He doesn't even mention, like, I'll Venmo you half right now, whatever the case is. He's just, like, talking shit, saying, like, oh, I should carry cash on me, blah, blah, blah. And then he tells me this, Jared, the whole total was probably $32 or so. I have 40. He was like, yeah, just give her the whole 40. And like, I walked in by myself, handed her the cash. I was like, here you go, just keep the change. And then we left. And then he brought up the idea, oh, wait, you want to check out that wine spot? And I was like, yeah, sure. And we walk 1 block and he says, I don't think I see it. I was like, nope, it's right there. And then he makes a comment saying, oh, this looks like where girls from Chelsea go to get their frosé.
And the best part is she lives in Chelsea.
Exactly. So. And I sent him a picture of frosé one day. And I just felt like he's...
It feels like there's a point in this story that, like, you know, it's fun to talk about, but there is a point where you go, I feel for this dude because he's in over his head a little bit. But like, what's he gonna, like, there's a point where your personality is constricted by the person you are. So like,
it's true, Jared, but to be fair, like coming from me, by no means am I like a rich guy or anything like that. And like to your point earlier, if you're trying to say, oh, first world problems, if I'm going to invite a girl that I've been dating for a month to a vacation, I'm going to make sure that my bank account is enough to cover the overage. Like, if I was on the borderline, like, well, I don't know if I can afford this, then I would have just totally pulled out from the beginning.
Totally. There's a brand of dude that is treating dating like he's running a Ponzi scheme. Like,
well, that's, yeah.
So like, you know, like, it's like money in, money out. You know, like you're like just trying to impress them to get to the next sexual encounter, to get to the next, you know, I like, and now the Ponzi scheme has broken. Madoff is like, you know, getting shooken down by the, you know, the FCC. And now he looks like a fucking idiot, which no defense. Like, yeah, he looks like, I'm just saying, like, he's been outed. Like, you know, like the lights are on in the jail and he's running around the yard trying to escape. So how does it go? How does it end?
So I felt a little insulted by that frosé comment.
And it also, it's like, you can't, that it's funny that he can't even make a joke now because it's like, dude, I just paid for your fucking eggs. Like,
yeah. But the best part is like, he made a backhanded comment that 100% explained, like, frosé from Chelsea. She's like, oh, well, I do that.
Yeah.
So you want to talk about like losing points right there. Yeah. That's bringing you to the bottom.
I mean, he's not getting the second trip to Beacon, New York. Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Day number 3, last day.
And the final day. Yep.
Now this happens. Do you sleep with him that night?
I mean, yeah, I was still gonna get mine.
Okay. I'm just saying, I totally love that you said I'm gonna get mine because I think that's the right perspective. In his mind, sex means you're killing it. You know, like, there's an element of like, I know he's not killing it. You should get it. I'm saying that his ego is like, fucking got through another day on the Ponzi scheme, like, because he did get sex.
But it was not even like that great. So
listen, I'm not saying good and bad. I'm saying your perspective is, I'm thankful for your perspective because I got mine. Listen, there's a lot of people that would think that way. There's a lot of people that wouldn't. They'd go, I don't want to, you know, like sex, you know, everyone's relationship with sex is different. So I just think that in his mind, his relationship with sex has to do with, oh, she still likes me. Today went great because she had sex with me. I would think that.
And
I mean, but
booked a
Jared,
train
let's
ticket.
be fair here. From her perspective, at this point of everything bad that she went through, that's the least she could have gotten. You know what I mean?
Oh, dude, I'm listen.
You know, it's like if you're gonna have any positive from this story, it's
This isn't to say that you're wrong for that. My point is just to say that I'm trying to think like why would he like day 3, whatever story comes from day 3. I'm not surprised. You know, like I'm not surprised that he still has cockiness, that he still thinks he's pulling kind of a fast one, which it sounds like he has been doing. So what happened day 3?
Day 3, his idea for us to have brunch before the drive back. And then he tells me to pick a spot. And then, of course, I pick the nicest spot in town, this small town that we haven't gone to yet.
Yeah.
And then
why not? I'm paying anyways.
you may as well go all out.
His immediate reaction was like, oh, this place looks pretty bougie. Because it was like some Asian fusion place when I had like this mango, shrimp, avocado salad. And like he paid for the brunch, which was like fine. He put it on his credit card.
Okay.
But I mean,
listen, that's
if you're striking out that much to make the bougie comment at that point, I would just be happy she's going out to brunch.
Yeah.
Like I would be like, thank God we have another meal together. It's, you know.
Well, this is a character. Like this is who he is. Like, you know, you can't. It is interesting. Money, obviously. There's some people, you know, most people, but like I'm saying, there's some people that like money hovers over every judgment they have on everything, no matter whether they're spending the money or not. So I do understand that he's like, ooh, bougie. Like to him, every decision he makes, money's on his mind. If he has insufficient funds, every like, oh, so that's where you're going. Everything is translated. If you said, hey, I stop at yellow lights early, he'd go, oh, that's what rich people do. Like like everything's related.
Being from Boston, we know yellow means florid.
Go faster.
Yep, that's right.
So yeah. So what happened at so you have the bougie brunch.
We had the brunch, we drive back, he drops me off. And as soon as he drops me off, he sends me a text with a Tolo for the Airbnb and the car. I Venmo him ASAP. And then we had another date after this, which was pre-planned again. Like we were supposed to go to a Great Adventure at Hurricane Harbor, but we had to reschedule it due to the weather. And then he was texting me about the plan, saying like, oh, looks like it's gonna rain on that day. Should we move it to like Sunday? And I was like, I already have plans. And he was like, okay, let's see how it goes with the forecast. I ignore him. He texts me 2 or 3 days later saying like, it's looking sunny. And I was like, I wonder if they're gonna have any filet mignon at this water park. And then he says, just as likely as they're gonna have a mango shrimp salad. And I was like, oh, he's done.
Oh, you know, I do believe cheapness is a disease, is like a birth, like it is as much that is who people are. And this isn't the match for you, obviously, you know that, but I'm saying like, you know, it goes back to what I was saying before, where it's like everything in his mind has a price on it. When someone says to me, hey, let's go get drinks, I go, oh, I'm like, oh, the person's great. I want to hang with them. I want to be with, the whole experience. There's some people, cheap people, will go, well, they're going to want $12.95 a drink. You know, like some people can't live in New York City because a beer costs $7 here.
7, try 12.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So some people like being in New York City is like hurts their soul because of that. And anyone who lives in New York City, they're kind of like, yeah, that's just what it is. What am I gonna do? You know, like I think this guy is one of those people.
And to be fair to your point, I agree. And I'm not trying to say like everything that like we do or I do, and it's not top of the line. Don't get me wrong. We have the cheap. We're going to go down to the liquor store and get a $10 bottle of vodka and we're going to get drunk. The fact of the matter and the point of the story is if you're talking about if you're going to invite somebody away to a romantic weekend, you got to do your homework and at least know. And even on top of that, if you're really into the girl, I mean, it's one thing to split the cost. I understand that. But if you're going to split the cost, you need to at least go into it with some sort of mindset. Like, I'm the guy, I need to do something nice here, but you can't half-ass it. There's nothing wrong with saving money, but you just have to know what to expect, you know?
I always have this thought where I'm like people will write into the podcast all the time, like, should I go on this trip with this person that I just met recently? And I always think, I don't go on a trip I can't afford myself. So
I agree.
Like, so like with your situation, thank goodness you were there being like, yeah, I'll fucking pay. Like, what the fuck? Like, it's not, I'm not defending, like, cheapness is different than the inability to spend money. Like, cheapness is a different thing to me. It's not about rich or poor. That's that is a perspective. It's not like, it's just different. So to me, this isn't the match, obviously, but like, I'm with you. Like, you go on that vacation, why even invite you? Like, why not do the $7.95?
One thing, like, if there was a group of like 20 people and it's like, hey, let's go. But when it's like a weekend of just us, that's like, you're calling for it. You're like, it is me and you this weekend, and it's all about us. So you're gonna go in with that mindset. I mean, so when she's telling me this story, like, the whole time, I'm with you. I stopped her after the first like 5 minutes. I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. And again, it was the same sort of thing, because I was just like, there comes a time, and times change and things are modern and things are different. But even if you want to go the old school route, the guy, at least on the first date or the first couple dates, will pay, because it's if anything, a sign of respect, and you want to continue to build something. So if you're going to invite on a big vacation, you can't cheap out,
Emmy, have you seen him since?
No, I dumped him right then and there after his reaction. And I said, look, I was turned off after this weekend. This is not going to work. We don't have long-term compatibility.
And what did he say to that?
I threw in, you're a lovely person. I enjoy your time together. That's it. And he said, well, I appreciate your honesty. I enjoyed our time together too.
I mean, that's the best way this could end. I mean, he'll find someone else to do a $7.95 date with. Like,
the point is, like, Jared, like, I had my haircut yesterday, and I spent more money doing like the Brazilian blowout on a haircut than this fucking weekend. And like, women, you're worth a filet mignon and so much more.
Absolutely. Guys, thank you so much. Mike, Emmy, this was so fantastic. Love the story.
Thanks for having us, guys. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you both for coming on. This was great. People, are we having fun or what? Cheers with me. We're here on the Vent Sesh. Emmy and Mike brought it, loved it. Let's go to a commercial break.
You are currently watching Jared Freed's YouTube channel. If you'd like to subscribe to the YouTube channel, you can hit that subscribe button for the low, low price of free. That's right. Monday through Friday, Jared will be updating this channel with clips from the J-Train podcast, some of his world-renowned stand-up clips, as well as charcuterie chats and Bachelor post-game shows. Also, hit that bell. The bell will give you updates straight to your email to let you know when Jared goes live. So hit the subscribe button, hit that bell, so that you can be up to date with all the fun that's going on Jared Freed's YouTube channel.
Welcome back. Hit that subscribe button. We're going to do one more. This has been a fantastic time. I really appreciate you guys hanging out with me on a Sunday night. We're having a drink. We're hanging out. We're getting into these questions. Hello, hello.
Oh my God.
Hi. And your name is Jennings?
Yes, that's my name.
Hi, Jennings. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
So nice to have you on. I said this in the beginning to the first person that came on. You got great lighting. Look at it. You've figured out the Zoom game.
Oh, yes, I have. Many a Zoom meeting. You have to have good lighting.
Killing it, Jennings. So, Jennings, tell me your story. Who are you? Where are you from? What do you do?
Yes. So my name is Jennings. I currently live in Los Angeles, California. I'm one of those struggling actors. So I'm working as like a temp, and then I've worked as like a personal assistant, production coordinator, kind of just like whatever I get my hands on.
Where in LA are you?
Right in Hollywood.
Love it. I love going out there. sometimes, you know, a different place to live, living in Hollywood, that's fun. There's
Yeah, I
great
saw your show at
bars.
Flappers. I saw you at Flappers once.
Oh shit, that was so much fun. That was a great show.
You were so good. I
Oh.
loved it.
I'll pay you later. Thank you.
Feather.
Feather. So what's your situation? What's going on?
Okay, so my situation is I have a little bit of a crush on a guy. So it's a little bit kind of weird.
Yes.
I will spill the tea, of course. It's why I'm here. So I met him like about a year ago. I was on a date with a mutual friend, and we were literally on the date, and then a whole group came in and we all just went bowling together. And I met the guy and I thought he was nice.
Explain this. You're on a date with a mutual friend.
Yeah. It's so weird, but it's like not weird. We were on a date and we went to dinner and his friends were nearby and they texted and they were like, oh, what are you guys doing? And I was like, oh, well, what do you want to do? I was like, I don't really want to go see a movie. And he was like, oh, my friends are going bowling. Do you want to go? And so we went bowling with his friends.
I'm a little confused. I'm sorry, Jennings. Okay. And it might be the spiked seltzer that I'm drinking.
It's all right. I will explain.
You're on a date or you're on a friend date? Like, what are you? And so you said a mutual friend. So this guy that you have a crush on, his friend is on the date with you.
Yes.
Now, how did you meet this guy?
I met the guy, I don't know, just kind of like in passing. He was friends with my ex and I had met him like in passing, and then he DM'd me and asked me on a date and I was like, yeah, why not? Whatever.
Why not? So you're on the date with him. The date is ending and he says, my friends are out. Do you want to come?
Yeah.
Okay. Now and it ends up being bowling is the thing.
Yes. So
go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay. So we go bowling. I met the kid that I have a crush on. And I didn't really think much of it. I thought he was cute, but like, you know, whatever. And then the guy I was on a date with just wasn't the match. So we just were like, hey, let's just be friends. We're totally, totally cool. I'd written an earlier email about a 4th of July party and I went to it and we are really cool. So your advice really worked.
Okay.
So my crush ended up a couple weeks after that date. He followed me on Instagram. And I was like, oh.
Dance begins.
Yeah. And so I followed him back. But then a month later, he unfollowed me and I noticed. Okay. And so I unfollowed back. And then fast forward, like pandemic hits, like this was all probably like December of last year. Back in August, I went to the beach with a couple of friends out here and he was there, the guy that I have a crush on. And we didn't really talk. Like he's very, very shy, very quiet.
When did the crush develop? You know, like I know we've now passed through like a year of time. So like, so
it's over time.
Time is weird. But it's fine. But I'm saying you're on the date with the guy. You see him at the bowling. You think he's cute. Then he follows you. Does following you start the crush?
I started kind of thinking about him, and then I think just kind of like, you know, I don't really know what it was. It was just kind of like, I think I had a couple friends who started to think he was cute, and then when I started hanging out more with my friend group, they started talking about how cute he was and how like they thought we would be a really good match together. And
why do you think this is coming up in your friend group? That's my I know women talk and this is like gossipy and fun. Are you bringing him up? Are you be like, oh, this guy followed me? Or are they going, do they know him? And they're saying, is he, like, I'm wondering, is he floating them that he thinks you're cute?
So, yeah. So there's more. So what happened was I saw him like a month ago and I told my friends, like, I was like, oh yeah, I think he's so cute. Like, and my friends were like, and then later on, like a couple weeks later, like my friend got really drunk and she is really, really close with him. And she admitted to me that he would, in like group settings, he would ask if I was going to be there and that he also thought that I was cute.
Okay.
So a couple weeks ago, I hit him with the follow and he followed back. But he's not super active on like social media and stuff. So
how long after you followed him did he follow you back?
A couple hours, I would say.
So he's active. I mean, I mean, what are we talking about here?
Fair.
So
Doesn't
like,
post a lot. Doesn't post a lot. I guess I should
fine,
just.
but he's active.
Okay.
Let's not. I don't think your post history has a lot to do with your look history.
Okay.
Is my point in that.
Fair.
So now you're following each other.
So we're following each other. I've like posted a couple times since he's followed me, and he liked, I think, like one of my posts, but I'm not like posting every single day.
Okay.
And he posted something like, I think like maybe last week, and I liked it, but I don't know what to do. I don't ever make the first move.
Okay, fine. So what was the? I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, you're fine.
What was the last? When did the unfollow happen?
That happened like the end of last year, I think.
So like December, he unfollows, then pandemic hits, and you've been keeping up with him without following, it sounds like.
Yeah.
And you follow a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
He follows back within hours.
Yeah.
To me, an unfollow happens when either you get in a relationship, you start seeing someone, or you feel that you are being creepy. Like an element of like, I'm watching every story. I'm there within 3 minutes. Holy shit. Like, get me out of here.
Oh
I don't even know this person.
Yeah.
Why am I following? Like, there's people in my follow that I go, what am I doing here? You know, yeah. I do have that. I understand that. So the unfollow, we don't know, but it was a long time ago. I think you have to go by what just recently happened is he followed back within a couple hours, which means to me, that is interest. To me, that I don't want to make it bigger than it is, but to me, interest could be this. It could be this. I don't know.
Yeah.
But for him to follow back in kind, I'm like, okay, what do you want from him though, Jennings?
I think more of like if I really could like have what I want, it would just be like a clear-cut sign. But I understand where like, I mean, I don't know. It's like I would love for him to like slide into the DMs. Like that would like really be what I would love. And then I would like totally just strike up a conversation, you know?
Yeah. So it's tough because I do think he's interested, but we don't know what his thing is. We don't know what's going on that he's not making a move. Either it's an ex that he keeps going back to. He's dating someone that's outside of this friend group. We just don't know, or he's shy. I don't believe in that. There's just something. So if I were you, and you want to try and loosen him up, you want to like, so there's two ways to go, but you have to be strong, because what happens is when people get approached, they're in somewhat of a power position. They can use that against you. So when you approach him, he can go, well, now I got you and I'm going to have you at my convenience. And you don't want that. You want very much, here's my number, now you make a plan. Like that's what I would want if I were you. And there's a way to ask someone out while also being asked out. So this is the strong way to go. The strong way to go is, hey, I just feel like we'd have a fun time. Here's my number. I'd love to get drinks sometime.
Cool.
Clear and cut. There's the number. That doesn't mean you go out with him. That means you see how he reacts to that. Because let's say he writes back, we should get drinks sometimes. Like, dude, fuck off. You know, like that's him running in place. That's him keeping you as an option.
Yeah.
That's him being like, I got 30 other girls going on, but like, I do think you're cute too. Like that, I unsubscribe. I go, you have cool. I write back cool. And then goodbye. Gabagool. Done. But if he writes back to you and says, like, the move you want And the move he knows you want is texting you right away. Hey, I'm so glad you sent me your number. How's next week looking for you? Like, that's the text you want.
Yeah.
And if he does below that, you have to think that there's ulterior motives. So that's the protectionism thing. If you don't want to go that strong, here's what you do. Pull out your phone right now. You like 10 of his pictures in a row.
Like, that's the whole feed. That's the whole feed.
You gotta you go, do it right now. That's the other way to go. Because the other that way, like, you're tapping on the window, hello, and that's a way to like fish him out. And if he doesn't get back, if he doesn't write to you or like 10 of yours, if he likes 10 of yours back, now you guys are playing like, you're playing knock on the doorpost game from the 1920s. So like, it's like, you have both of those options, but both of those options don't make it so they're not an allowance for him to not do what you want. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
So that's what I would do.
Beautiful.
Jennings, thank you so much.
Thank you, Jared.
Good luck in LA. Good luck in Hollywood. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
Listen, people, we did it. Another vent session in the books. The Bachelorette is starting. If I want to look at my calendar right now, The Bachelorette is starting on the 13th. I will be here with a Bachelorette preview on the 11th. So hit that bell, subscribe to the channel. Thank you for coming to Vent Sesh. We'll be back on the 11th.